So in this expression, you have three terms. 1, 2, 3. Okay? So the first term is x to the power of 2, 就是 x squared. The second term is plus 4xy. The third term is minus x. Okay? So they say write down the coefficient of x. So what's the meaning of coefficient? Do you know?
就是那个前面不是后面的。
就是你这三个 term 里面哪一个是
共同的那个
x？ 有 x 的。
那个
第二个
x
还有第三个。x square 没有啊，那个 x square 那个是 x square。对 ，so 我们把它抽出来。So the first term is x square, right? The second term is plus 4xy. Then the third one is minus x. So among these three, which one is x only? 只有这两个。Why? Because x and x, right? The first one is x square. It's not x. The first one is x square. But of course, you can tell me, hey, x square is x times x. Right? But it's still x square. Okay? So it's not x. So you cannot count the x square into the question A. So you only have these two to choose from to give the answer. So you look at your this plus 4xy. They say coefficient. What's the meaning of coefficient? Coefficient means number. So basically what they want is what is the number. So in a way, what's the number in front of x?
4.
So in this case, can you choose this one to give the answer? You cannot, because over here you have 4xy. What it means is if you move the x to the back, so you have 4yx. So that means this is not a number. 4y is not a number. Okay? But for the last one,
minus 1.
yes, minus 1 is a number. So between these two, right, you cannot choose this one for the part A. So the coefficient of x, the number in front of x is only -1. That means you can only choose the last one to give you the answer for part A. While this one cannot. This one is not a number because x times x, this is x, right? And then for the second one is 4y, right? X and 4y, they are not numbers, so you cannot choose these two to give the answer. So there is only one answer, which is -1. Okay? That's how you decide. Next, the constant term. You know what's the meaning of constant?
那后面的最后一个
No. Constant means fixed. Remain the same throughout. The same throughout. 就一直都是一样的。So over here, you look at 3 of them. So when you do this kind of question, you always write the 3 of them out and decide. So just now for A, you write it out as x times x, and then 4yx, and then minus x. And then you see that this one is x, it's not a constant, I mean it's not coefficient, it's not a number. This one is also not a coefficient, it's not a number. So you can only choose -1. Okay? So now you write them down again. 4yx. And then you have this minus x. So is this a constant? 它是一直都会一样吗？是 fixed 的吗？ x square 是 fixed 的吗？
是的。
为什么是？为什么不是？我想问，当 x 是1的时候，它的答案是什么？
它的答案是
1 square, which is 1, right?
Yes.
当 x 是2的时候，它的答案是 which is 4, right?
Yes.
所以它的答案是 fixed 的吗？
不是。
不是 ，OK, so cannot. Right? So similarly, 当你的 x 这边是1的话，它是 4y， 对不对？当它是2的时候，它是 8y， 所以它的答案是 fixed 的吗？
不是。
不是，所以又不是，这个又去掉。So this one, when the x is 1, is -1. When the x is 2, is -2. 它的答案是 fixed 的吗？不是。So the constant term 有吗？
没有。
Yeah, so no answer.
它是可以。
No answer 也是 answer，OK？、
哦。
Okay? Good. So that's how you get the
It's 11:30.
question 1. Okay? For constant term and coefficient of anything. Okay? Constant term is fixed. Okay? Constant 的意思就是 fixed. Okay, good. 或者你写一个零呢？这也可以有一个加零，你知道吗？
哦。
啊，
真的吗？
对啊。So OK， 当你有这个的时候啊，它其实是加零的。
哦。
Right? But it's not there only. Right? So 加零哦，或者是没有了。OK? Good. Next question.
哎，老师，这个是对的吧？
Oh, question 2 啊。Okay, so for question 2, right? Then you need to know what rational number, irrational. 你有学了吗？
我看一下，我学了，但是我看这是对的。
你学过啊？我先不要讲答案，我
是答案对的。
哦，答案是对。But 你懂什么叫 rational number, irrational number 吗？
就是一个是那个就是那种可以
Okay.
换成分数的。
Okay, very good.
另外一个是那种无限。
So that means you understand a little bit, but I think you need a framework. 你要有一个框架，让你知道什么是rational 还是 irrational. Okay? So 我会用一个叫做 number tree to represent them. Okay, so first thing first, you have real numbers. Okay, real numbers. So for real numbers, you branch out to rational and then irrational number. NO dot is numbers, short form. So for irrational numbers, very simple. No pattern, non-stop. 就是没有规律，也不停的。举个例子，派。
但是没有规律，那我们算出来。
派啊。说派是什么？3.14 141哒哒哒哒哒，没有规律的。No pattern, and then non-stop， 不停的。还有另外一个 square root 2， 你可以按一下 square root 2。So square root 2 is 按过。So 0.70 all right. 0.770. So can you see? No pattern, non-stop. So these are two examples of irrational numbers. So the rest, they are all rational numbers. So for rational number, you can split to integer, 整数, fraction, and decimal number. Okay. And the difference between this decimal number and this decimal number is decimal number is pattern and stop. Example 2.5. Example 0.3 with a dot above. You know what's the meaning of this? 0.3 with a dot. 不停的。
那个3会一直。
对 so it's equal to 0.3. It's non-stop, but there is a pattern, right?
Yes.
The 3 is repeated, right? So that's why the 0.3 with a dot above, I put it under decimal, not this.
哦，那就是说这个无限循环的是可以是。
无限循环，但是有规律，所以 under decimal. Okay? So that's how I differentiate whether it should go to irrational number or decimal number, which is under rational number. Are you clear? So for fraction is of course very easy. 1/3, 22/7. Then of course you have many other. Then for integer, you split to positive integer, 0, negative integer. -3 0, 这个是正的，正是+5. That's it. Yeah. So with this, you look at this, this. They want integer, right? Integer, that means you look at this. So integer, you have positive in, 0, and negative in, right? So therefore, if I write down all the numbers, okay. So with this, if you look for integer, this is not integer. This is a decimal number. This is not integer. This is under irrational number. This is an integer. Yes, 3. Pi, irrational number. This one, fraction. So the answer is 3. So integer, 3. Next one, rational number. So rational number can be integer, right?
Yes.
Good. So first, ask yourself, minus 1.23 should be minus 1.23 should be decimal number. Right? Why? Because stop.
Oh.
Right?
Yes.
It stop, right? Non-stop 是 right irrational.
No.
But 它是 stop, so therefore you can write minus 1.3 also under decimal number.
那
Yeah? Yes?
那如果那个负1.23，
负1.23 is rational number, yes.
如果它能换成 fraction 的话，那
也可以啊。
那它不应该也 under fraction 吗？
Oh, okay, good. So you are very okay. Your point is valid. So in fact, fraction is 1/3, right? So decimal number is so this one 1/3, right? Is actually 0.3 with a dot above. Okay, so in a way, you can see it as fraction also. But now the question asks you rational number.
哦
Okay, they never ask you whether it's fraction or decimal, right? But they ask you rational number. So therefore, you take this negative 1.23 as a irrational number. Okay. Anyway, fraction and decimal is interchangeable. 就是只是换算而已。Okay. So square root 2, no, square root 2 is irrational. So irrational is square root 2. 3, rational. Pi, irrational. So 这个是 fraction, so it has to be under rational. Okay? So irrational is the square root 2 and irra is square root 2 and pi. Okay? So in order to do these questions, all you need to remember is this number 3. Okay? I find it quite easy to remember because rational, irrational. Irrational 就是 these two. No pattern, non-stop. Then from this rational note, you have integer, fraction, and decimal. Then after that, you just split the internal integer, positive, 0, and negative. Okay? So if you know the number 3, then you can solve questions like this easily. Okay? That's it.